New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Hello and welcome back to Global Focus today. I apologize for our tardiness. We had a little technical flip there, but I am still Reverend Dr. Sharri Johnson, your host, and this week we have a wonderful guest who's been here once before, Reverend Chris Plym from Mile High Church. Reverend Chris is sort of an unusual focus minister because she has one foot in the focus world and one foot in the platform world. But I met her when we were both on the Global Heart of Peace, and she was the director of the Global Heart of Peace initiative. And now she has a new focus, working with and on the board of the Science of Mind Archives, which is having all kinds of exciting new things happen. And I'm delighted to have her here to tell us all about it. So please help me welcome Reverend Chris Plym.
Thank you, Sharri.
Thank you for saying yes. I know that you are very busy right now with what's going on at the archives, but I really appreciate that you took the time out to be here with us.
Oh, well, you're most welcome. Yeah, we have to schedule things far in advance for everything we do in life anymore that is of any importance. The little stuff kind of fits in the jar, the old analogy of the jar of water. And if you want things to fit, you put your big rocks in first, and then you put your little rocks in, and you get much more in your jar of water. So that's what we do around here. So yes, glad to be with all of you and Sharri this morning.
So tell us what's going on at the archives, because I know, because I happen to be friends with the executive director and she keeps me informed, but because you're involved in it. So tell us what's going on.
Okay, so the Science of Mind Archives just over this past weekend moved physically all of their items, their archives, their museum, their rare books collection, their website, their tapes, their everything to Unity Village right outside of Kansas City, Missouri. It's in Lee Summit. And fortunately for the archive, Sharri lives close to there. So I'm sure she will be doing a lot of visiting and helping with getting the new archives area set up. We've been working on this project for over a year. Some of you may know, and some of you may not, that the Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation was hosted by Centers for Spiritual Living for about 11, 12 years. We were hosted in their building in Golden, Colorado. And so they gave us basically complimentary space, which was just wonderful because that, eliminated one big expense. Plus, they let us use their internet, some of their hosting services, a whole variety of things, which was just, I want to express my gratitude to Centers for Spiritual Living. Well, we are still associated. We are considered a sister organization to Centers for Spiritual Living. But we are currently now in Lee Summit. We moved something in the neighborhood of 800 boxes over the weekend, plus many fragile items, such as portraits of Ernest Holmes, were crated. And then we had other items that came out of Ernest Holmes' home, which were, a chair, a lectern, whatever. And those were also packed in these gigantic moving vans. All of that was unpacked yesterday in Lee's Summit. So I'm sure that Kathy Mastriani, the executive director, and her project manager, JT Thurman, are really just swamped today, just trying to figure out where they put what, where, and how it's all going to work together. Some of the members of the board were able to fly out to Lee's Summit to help with the unpacking process. But I know the archives will be leaning heavily on local people in the Lee Summit, Kansas City area. They've been in touch with Centers for Spiritual Living Kansas City. They've been in touch with people like Reverend Sharri. They have people from Unity that have volunteered to come and help. So this is going to be a great deal. Now, I guess I will just say, I would expect that the unpacking of the archives will probably take at least probably a couple of months. It took that long to pack everything up. And so, some of the moving experience, all of you can relate to this, is setting up shelving, setting up locations, the design, where are we going to hang this portrait of Ernest Holmes, etc. So very exciting times, but the archives probably won't be open in that location for a little while.
Well, I don't know if you're aware of it, but there is some additional news.
Okay.
That is that the International New Thought Alliance is also moving their archives to Unity Village.
Oh, good.
And so here's my dream. Okay, as you know, I have a metaphysical research library that is the bulk of my ministry.
Yes.
And it is fast outgrowing the space that I have for it. So the vision that I'm holding is that AG&T will bring their archives there, and Agape will bring their archives there, and Divine Science will bring their archives there, and then I will bring my metaphysical research library there, and Unity Village will become the world headquarters of New Thought history, archives, research for the world.
Yes, I love that, Sharri. I love that. I did not know that INTA had made the decision to move, but I am so glad they did, because, as you spoke to the larger vision, that is exactly why the Science of Mind archives decided to move there. Was this could be a great place to host a whole variety of New Thought organizations, and then researchers, visitors. Many of you know that Unity Village hosts a whole variety of conferences every year, but people from the conferences could visit those archives, do research. I just think this is going to be a wonderful thing.
And Unity Village has a hotel, conference center.
Yeah.
So if somebody was working on a program or a doctorate or some other thing that they needed to do research in New Thought, they could go and stay at the village and have access to all of the different branches of New Thought that would be there. So it looks to me like heaven on earth. And I only live 12 minutes away, so I'm a happy camper.
And I am so glad you live 12 minutes away, Sharri. I think it's wonderful. Yeah, we're very, very excited about this move. Some of you know that we've been doing fundraisers. We had a move a box campaign where if people donated, we put their name on the box of materials that was moving. So that was very successful and very fun. We will be kicking off a new fundraiser probably within, not if this week, next week. We're working on some of the procedural details. This fundraiser, I think all of you might be interested in if you know Ernest Holmes. we will be selling cardboard cutouts of Ernest Holmes, and they will be available for sale. Sherry's astounded, in various sizes. So there will be a 1-foot cardboard cutout of Ernest that you could kind of like just put right by your face when you're on Zoom in a meeting or on StreamYard or wherever. There will be a 2-foot cutout of Ernest. Same thing. You could just put it right there by your face. And then there'll be a 5-foot cutout of Ernest Holmes, which some of you may have seen at various conferences because he's traveled a lot. He's moved around a lot. In fact, if you go to the Facebook page for the Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, you will find all kinds of pictures of people packing up the boxes, packing up the moving trucks. But then there's also a photo of Kathy Mastriani in the driver's seat with Ernest in the passenger seat, the 5-foot Ernest Holmes cutout in the passenger seat driving to, yes, what great fun. We're having a lot of fun with this. So watch for that fundraiser, or, watch for just the idea that you too could own at least a 1-foot cutout of Ernest Holmes to have him right there by you.
And we could do one of those games they have where you go around looking for where's Ernest now? Who's got Ernest now?
And we're going to do that. That's the next step. So we're going to be selling these. And then the next step is going to be a Where's the Ernest campaign, and kind of a game, because we'll maybe award a prize or something at the end. We haven't quite figured that all out. But we already have people in Kisi and in Nigeria and in various places in South Africa that have the cutout, and they've got pictures already made. There's a couple of us that are going to Norway and Iceland this summer, and so we're going to take him to Norway and Iceland.
So here's what you have to do. You have to get pictures of people all around the world with Ernest, and not put captions on them, and then have a contest to see who can figure out where they are.
What a great idea. Wouldn't that be fun?
Because what you'd have to do would be go find the places,
Yeah. It'll be a lot of fun.
I love it. So tell us, because I know there are people in our audience who haven't been to the archives and who don't know what the archives. Tell them what the archives is. Tell them what its function is, how they connect to it, and don't forget to mention the website.
Okay. All right. So the archives, we've up-leveled our vision and mission statement. And I'm sorry, I don't have them memorized. I don't have them right in front of us, but it has to do more with being a living resource of documents from Ernest Holmes and other New Thought leaders, such as Raymond Charles Barker, Duchess Dale, Marilyn Leo, just a whole variety of New Thought leaders. We have on the website, which I think that'll be coming up in the banner soon, we have various things that you can purchase on the website, which are audio files of Ernest Holmes or Raymond Charles Barker, or someone doing a prayer treatment. There is lessons from Ernest Holmes. There are transcripts of some of the audio files that we have. There are books. Some of them are at a very nominal expense, like $1.99, that you can purchase on the website. You can also become what's called a friend of the archives, which the friend membership is really inexpensive for what you get. You get 20 free downloads a month. I've been a friend for years, and I've never reached the 20 downloads. Now, I may have had 10 or even 15, or some months it's 3, but I'm always finding new materials. We continually are putting new materials on the website, and those are showcased as we add things. They're also showcased in our newsletter. So If you go to the website, you can sign up for the newsletter. Reverend Dr. Mark Gilbert puts on the website, I would say anywhere from 12 to 15 new items every month. So as we get things either transcribed or get an audio prepared or whatever needs to happen, we're continuing to put new materials out there. The archives itself plans to have a soft opening sometime this year, and we'll be in a position later, probably late summer or fall, to announce that soft opening so that people can actually come in and do research or get materials while they're at the archives. I'm kind of skipping around, but I wanted to mention before I forgot, we will have a grand opening in 2025. We've worked with Unity Village on their hotel accommodations, and we've reserved a block of rooms from April 24th through the 26th. It's a Thursday through Saturday night, leaving on Sunday. We realize some people may have to go back to their centers or groups on Sunday, so they may only stay through Saturday. But we do plan to have a gala party, various tours, various meetings, conferences going on during that period of time. And we've just developed a planning committee for all that. So that's going to be a lot of fun too. So just, keep that in the back of your mind, or, watch for further announcements on that grand opening, because that'll be a great time. Well, we'll line up some great musicians and great speakers for that event.
There are some wonderful musicians in the Kansas City area. And oddly enough, we don't have a hard time getting musicians to agree to come to Unity Village, because it's such a place. But I wanted to add to what you said about the archives, that when I was in ministerial school, I used the archives a lot, and I downloaded a lot of documents. And something that impressed me was that when you download the document, you get something that you could put in a folder and have in a library. I mean, they're beautifully formatted. They're complete. They have references. I mean, it was wonderful to have that available to me when I was in ministerial school. And I joined the First Circle the day it opened. I joined First Circle because I was at Selamar, and that was where it was happening. And signed up immediately. And it has always been just, one of my favorite things to look at and to support. And I think there's something there I have a question that just occurred to me while you were talking about moving.
Okay.
Do you happen to know, did they bring the mobile of the origami?
Oh, the peace cranes. I do not know, Sherry. There was conversations about it. I don't know if that was actually packed up and moved. Yeah, it's really beautiful. So I'm sure it's somewhere. I just don't know where.
Well, I'm sure it's somewhere, but it seemed to me the archives would be the right place for it to be, since the home office is virtual now.
Yeah.
And I have a crane on it. So I wanted to have some place where I can go and visit my crane,
Well, I'll see if I can find that out. And I'll let you know, Sherry, and then you can decide what to do with that.
And now I'm presuming, because a move is, a major event, that there are going to be some things added to the archives that weren't there when it was in Golden. Can you give us any hints about that?
Oh, dear. Well, I will tell you this. We've had several collections from various new thought and science of mind ministers that we simply did not have the room for in the Golden location. And so some of those collections were actually transported to the building, the Golden building, before the move, to be put on the moving trucks. So there will be more materials available. Now, I can't tell you exactly what made it to the moving trucks, or that might have to come later, but we have had several, ministers pass on that they had their own personal collections of Ernest Holmes memorabilia, talks, all kinds of things that are certainly important for an archive, a living resource to have.
I love the living resource. That's a great moniker.
Tagline, isn't it? It's a great tagline because it really is. It's not old and dusty books. Yes, the old and dusty books are there, but there's so much that's new and coming out digitally and electronically that people will have, and they have access to thousands of items right now.
Well, that's one of the things about the website is that you can go to the Science of Mind Archives website and listen to Ernest Holmes giving a talk, because they have digitized all those recordings. And it's, I don't care what anybody says. I get God bumps just thinking it. It's like, maybe it's not quite the Sermon on the Mount, but it's awful close.
Yeah. So true. So true.
So I'm a big fan, and everybody should go out to the archives and sign up right now to be a supporter, because you get way more than your money's worth.
Absolutely.
So, I have these 5 questions that I ask everybody, every guest, and I'm going to ask them of you. The first one is probably the one that's the most important to the guests, and that is there anything that you want our listeners to know about that I haven't asked you about?
Well, I am still involved in several other efforts that we have not talked about. I am on the Global Heart of Peace team, and there will be there on our banner is how you can find the Facebook page for it Centers for Spiritual Living Heart of Peace meditation. We have various meditations that are out there. We also have a YouTube channel, but I'm not sure that I know the call letters for it. Unfortunately, my computer died this morning. I was not able to find everything I needed to. But meditations are available for peace, and we do a variety of peace efforts. Our next coming up event will be September 21st, the United Nations International Day of Peace. We will be having an event on that day. We also at the end of the year always lead off with the Day of Peace created by John Randolph Price. And you can find all this information on the Centers for Spiritual Living Centers for Spiritual Living website. We have various other events that we sponsor during the year, such as World Labyrinth Day. So that's one of the activities I'm involved in. The other thing is that I am a special focus minister for Mile High Church, and my special focus is on peace events, which I run a variety of peace events for Mile High Church. And I run some other events called Sacred Saturdays. The other thing that I do for Mile High Church is I'm a sponsoring minister for two teaching chapters in the Ukraine. One in Bilaturska, one in Cherkasy. That one's called Temenos. They have been around. Well, Temenos has been around for years. Had several different ministers, the Reverend Ron Rood and then Reverend Dr. Barbara Leger, who have both retired from that effort. And now I'm the sponsoring minister for Ukraine as well, because many of the people, when Barbara Leger and Ron Rood were there, they trained a bunch of people in Science of Mind and New Thought philosophy. Some of those people are located in Russia. So now I've been connected with a group in Russia that is teaching Science of Mind courses in Russia. So not only do we have Science of Mind being taught in Ukraine, we have Science of Mind being taught in Russia. And I am just delighted to work with both of those groups. We're getting a lot done. We're creating new materials. They're sponsoring classes. Practitioners are teaching classes in the teaching chapters. It's just a wonderful effort. So I wanted to answer that question to just say I'm involved in a couple of other things.
Well, and I knew about Ukraine because a couple of years ago I actually taught a class for them.
Yeah, yeah,
And it was a very interesting experience because, as you may have noticed, I don't talk very slow.
yeah,
So I would talk for a little while and then I would shut up while the interpreter would say what I had said.
right.
And then I would ask if there were any questions and I would shut up while the interpreter told me what they had asked. It was a totally different experience from anything I'd ever done. But there was so much heart in those people. There
Yeah,
was
yeah,
so much connection, that I envy you that I think
yeah,
that's probably one of the coolest things you do for yourself, one of the coolest things you do.
yeah, yeah. It's very exciting. I'm very glad to be able to work with them and to feel like, I'm doing something really constructive with both Ukraine and Russia in this time. We keep saying in a few years, this may look different. And hopefully it's a lot shorter than a few years. Hopefully some negotiations can occur. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, now here's the next question. How does what you do as a focus minister and as a board member of the archives and as a sponsoring minister, all of those things together, how does that establish, encourage, invoke, pick your own verb, conscious evolution?
It's a great question. So I think the answer to that question was a little bit of self-evident in what I talked about with Ukraine and Russia, because that's really what we are doing, what they are doing. I say we being they and I and whoever else I've dragged in people from England and Switzerland and other places to help with classes and whatever we're doing there. But that's really conscious evolution, is to spread the idea that we are all one, that we can be responsible for ourselves and we can establish accountability. With the archives, the conscious evolution is knowing that we are transitioning from a very paper-based society into the digital and electronic world. And that is exactly what we're doing with the Science of Mind archives. That living resource is so pertinent to today's world. Some of you may know that there were many, many people that have been associated with the New Thought philosophy. Louise Hay, Wayne Dwyer, Jesse Jennings. Yeah. The names were, on the tip of my tongue, and I lost some of them. But so many of those folks are teaching New Thought principles. Edwin Gaines, I just Deepak Chopra. The list goes on and on and on. And that is an evolution of consciousness as we raise each other up into the possibilities of what does it mean that we are all one? What does it mean that everybody and I are connected? What does it mean to be part of this universe in this universal way? And this, we're connected not just here on earth, but in everything in the universe, everything in God's creation.
Two things I have to say about that. One of them is that every week when I ask that question, I think, boy, nobody's ever going to top this, but they always do. And the other one is, I forgot to mention that Reverend Chris was one of my instructors when I was in ministerial school. So we've been together a long time.
Yes, we have been together a long time. I cannot even remember what year that was, Sharri. That's okay.
A long time ago.
It was a while ago, yes.
And so my next question sounds very similar, but it's not quite the same question, so it doesn't get quite the same answer. And that is, how does what you do as a focus minister with the archives, with Ukraine, with all of the world peace, global heart of peace, how does all of that establish, promote, reveal, unveil world peace?
Well, with all of our peace events, we focus on inner peace. So if we can find inner peace in ourselves, that consciousness if you will, kind of drips out into the world consciousness, into culture, into belief systems. So as we continue to focus on our inner peace, be that through an event, be that through meditation in the morning, be that through the way we live our lives, how we express ourselves in the world, all of this fosters peace, world peace in our lifetime, now, not later.
Oh, thank you. I love that last part. In our lifetime now, not later. I want that needle pointed on a pillow for my sofa. Okay, here's the next one. And this is the one I think guests enjoy the most because you got to close your eyes and use your imagination. We're presuming that everything goes exactly the way you want it to go. Every event, every activity, every relationship, every thought, every action, everything goes exactly the way you want it to go. Then 10 years from now, what does Reverend Chris Plym, Focus Minister, look like?
Ah, that's an interesting question, Sharri. Very interesting question. I think that I will still be very actively involved in some form, maybe not on the board, but actively involved in the Science of Mind archives and that living resource and how that is expressed out to the world. I also think that in some way, shape, or form, I will still be very involved in peace efforts. And maybe by, my vision would be in 10 years from now, there is no war between Israel and Palestine and the Gaza Strip, and there is no war for Ukraine and Russia. There is no war in Myanmar. There is no war in Haiti. All of that is well behind us. And so we're living in a world where everyone is valued, everyone is seen as the child, the creation of spirit that they are, and that we can live in a world of abundance and prosperity and well-being and people are fulfilled. Wouldn't that be a great world?
That would be a great world. That will be. Let me change my answer. That
will be.
It will be. Okay, and here's my last question, and you've already answered it, but I'm going to ask it anyway, just because I always do. Will you come back?
Yes.
Okay, my first opening is April 29th of next year. Can I plug you in?
Yes.
Yippee! Because I know that this interview has been vastly different from the one we did last year at the Parliament of World Religions, and the one we do next year will be vastly different from this one. Thank you.
True. That's true.
I'm so grateful that you said yes. And let me just look right quick. Our next guest is going to be Reverend Jerry Hobby. And I don't remember what it stands for, but the initials of her ministry are SEAT. So she's a new guest who hasn't been with us before, and you don't want to miss it because she's a fascinating person, as are all my guests, of course. And in the meantime, have the best week, the best weekend, the best ever. I love you soon. Bye-bye.
Amazing, amazing, you will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing, you will do amazing things.
On behalf of everyone at New Thought Media Network, thank you for being a member of our virtual family. Your financial contributions help share the New Thought message with people from around the world. Please visit and contribute at www.ntmedia.org/donate. New Thought Media Network, come be you. And please like, share, and subscribe.